Hello and welcome to Business Live. Coming up on the program tonight, International Monetary Fund blames Ghana's inflation on domestic factors. We'll hear from African Director at the fund, Abebe Selassie.
Inflation is clearly being driven more by domestic factors than exogenous factors. I think Ghana would fall in that camp.
The Institute for Energy Security warns of widespread shortage of petroleum products across the country in no time as a result of the rapid fall in value of the cedi.
Well, that's become quite worrying. That's why we say that we shouldn't just be worried about rising price of fuel, but more concerned about a possible shortage of the commodity on the market.
And protesting harsh economic conditions, traders to close down shops as business take a hit.
By the authority vested in me, by the trading community, I declare all shops in Greater Accra closed from tomorrow.
Hello again. The International Monetary Fund has attributed the high inflation in Ghana to largely domestic factors. This dismisses the argument that inflation in the country is due to external factors, such as the Russia-Ukraine crisis, which has pushed prices of some foodstuffs, particularly wheat and cereals, up. In a press conference at the recent IMF World Bank spring meetings, African Director at the fund, Abebe Selassie, said its analysis showed that inflation is driven more by domestic factors than exogenous factors.
Trade-offs when you're doing, policy calibration. And so in our regional economic outlook, we are very careful to flag that there are some countries where inflation is clearly being driven more by domestic factors than exogenous factors. I think Ghana would fall in that camp. But there are also quite a lot of other countries where the inflation we're seeing is more imported inflation, so this the ability of monetary policy to address that is limited. So again, it depends on country-specific circumstances and also on time. And then lastly, particularly with monetary policy above everything else, it is an area where the calibration of monetary policy has to be always agile. Why? Because the conditions that affect inflation are always changing. Exchange rates are moving, commodity prices are moving. So it's an area where calibration has to be very looked at again and again and again. As the months proceed. That's why central bankers say you have to be forward-looking, data-driven. So our advice is also very much subject to those considerations.
Let's now go on Zoom and speak to Senior Lecturer at the University of Cape Coast Business School, Seiram Kawo. Thank you so much, sir, for your time here on the show. We have seen inflation reach 37.2%, and the Ghana Statistical Service data also shows imported inflation is high and a major contributor. However, the International Monetary Fund is saying inflation is driven by domestic factors. What could be the reason?
Okay. Thank you very much. The issues that we have are both ways. We have domestic factors that are driving inflation, and then we have external factors that affect inflation that we have in our country. And so we in Ghana are looking at the two issues. The IMF is telling us that the factors that affect inflation are mainly driven by domestic factors alone might not be the reality. The reality we find is that we are import dependency, and for that matter, the exchange rate is affecting a lot of the things that we import, our fuel prices, most of the things that we use in treating our water and electricity and all those things are imported. And so the exchange rate is affecting that. And then mostly we have the domestic factors that affect the things that we do.
What do you make of the concerns that inflation may have been driven by printing of money for government expenditures? How could this influence the rate?
Yeah, when we had the redenomination, you'll notice that we have the one Peswa coin that was there, and initially we were using it. Then things started going up. Then all of a sudden, we have the government printing the 100 cedis note and the 200 cedis note without giving any reason for that particular one. This actually, when there is printing of money, affect prices. Prices automatically goes up. And for that reason, we are seeing the effect on our prices of things that we have in our country currently. Then recently, we have the Bank of Ghana financing the government through the printing of currency, which they came out to deny. Later, they accepted that particular fact. Once you are doing that, it's going to drive prices up. We also have other issues where we do not actually have control over our currency. And so we allow things to happen in our country. People sell in dollars, people trade in dollars. And we allow the companies, external companies that come into our country, to take their profits out of the country. And due to speculations, most of this will have a very difficult impact on our economy.
Of how we are printing the 100 cedis notes and 200 cedis note. Does this play a significant role in pushing inflation up?
Surely it pushes our inflation up, because we want to go cashless society where people will not be using cash. Then all of a sudden, you've gone ahead to print new denominations, 100 cedis and 200 cedis. So automatically, certain things that are supposed to be bought at 75 cedis and all those things might go up to 100 cedis. It's just natural that these things will happen. And once you print currency, prices will go up. It's a basic economic issue. Once currencies are printed, we have prices going up. And that which was done at that time, we have no reason, no justification for printing that larger denomination at the time when it was done. And that is the price that we are paying for today.
What's the way forward for us?
We need to have a policy approach to this particular one, not only waiting for IMF to come in. Inflation, we are looking at prices of food items and the rest. There is the need. This morning I spoke on your station. I said there is a need for us to have a price control mechanism, a law that controls the prices of certain commodities that we have on our market. So if I buy something in Accra and I'm buying it in Kumasi or buying it in Cape Coast, the price must be the same. We have it for some commodities that we have. Water, the prices are regulated. Alcoholic beverages, the prices are regulated. And so we should be able to do that particular one. In addition to that, it's high time we start a massive education on the setting of prices in our economy, educate the masses on how they can set the prices. And then the Ministry of Trade and Industry must also come to the market to make sure that the traders do the right thing. And if we allow traders to continue whatever they want, the profit that they want to make, and then they pass on this cost to the consumer, then we are going to suffer a lot. We also have a lot of the traders who are not VAT registered customers. We need to encourage them to register for VAT so that they become a medium within which government can collect the money, so they will not bear the brunt of some of these taxes that we have. We need to stop borrowing and putting in unproductive sectors of our economy. We need to borrow and put in productive sectors that the money should pay for itself. Our way of borrowing money to pay debt will not help us. It will not be sustainable going into the future. We don't need to wait for IMF policy to be implemented before we do what we want to do. Let us implement our homegrown policies that the Bank of Ghana and the Ministry of Finance has presented to IMF. They should start implementing them. In that way, we will have a good way in the future.
We leave it here, Seram. Thank you so much for your time. Seram Kawa is Senior Lecturer at the University of Cape Coast Business School. Thank you so much for your time. Now, away from that, the Institute for Energy Security is warning of widespread shortage of petroleum products across the country in no time. It says the rapid fall in the value of the local currency, which is causing a shortage of dollars, and the erosion of some working capital of the bulk oil distributors would account for this. Nana Moisi is Executive Director of the Institute.
Struggling to get the required amount of dollars to import these commodities, being the diesel, petrol, LPG, and the others, becomes a cause for concern because we are basically importing countries, and these commodities are procured in dollar terms. If you don't have the dollars, then of course you cannot import. Well, that's become quite worrying. That's why we say that we shouldn't just be worried about rising price of fuel, but more concerned about a possible shortage of the commodity on the market. We expect government to find possible ways to manage the free fall of Ghanaian cedi because it's impacting negatively on the business of these importers and the oil marketing companies. For the international price, of course, we cannot count on BOSS to give us any strategic fuel stock to support any supply or international price risk. So our best bet is to get government to manage the free fall of the Ghanaian cedi.
Moving on, earlier today, the Ghana Union of Traders Association organized a press conference ahead of the closure of shops tomorrow in protest of harsh economic conditions. Let's hear from the president, Joseph Obey.
Simplify and make our tax system uniform and affordable in order to make compliance easy for businesses. The business community is open for all necessary discussions towards finding lasting solutions to these alarming situations. Now, as we speak, the exchange rate is around 13 Ghana cedis to the dollar, whilst we started the year with a rate of 6.2. At the same time, the commercial lending rate is hovering around 38% when we started the year with around 22%. It is obvious that we cannot contain this any longer, as it is increasingly getting unbearable. We want to give a pinch to the government to recognize that there is a sense of urgency in this situation. On this note, ladies and gentlemen, by the authority vested in me by the trading community, I declare all shops in Greater Accra closed from tomorrow. What it means is that we are closing down our shops and we open for business on Monday.
Meanwhile, the Food and Beverages Association has resolved to close its retail shops in the capital until Saturday. According to the association, 3 days of total shutdown is enough to drum home their demands to government. Executive Secretary of the Food and Beverages Association, Samuel Agri, tells Joy Business they are leaving no stone unturned in ensuring the cost of doing business is minimized.
Opening on Saturday is enough because, you see, for such a shopping mall to close down and having lost 1 million cedi a day and 2 million cedis for 2 days should tell you that the situation is very serious. Because as I talk to you now, the losses that we are making, if you look at it against the cedi depreciation, it's almost 50% that we have lost in our businesses. And we can't continue to see such phenomenon goes on. What we need to do is to take an action to drive home government's attention to it. So even if it's 1 day, government will still know that there's a problem that is going on. And this will go global. And therefore the international community will also know that Ghana really has a problem and government need to address it. As we stand, you can't tell me there's been any measure or announcement that government has taken to give us an assurance that they are managing the economy. If it's not there, you simply will have to admit that we have lost it, and this is the way everybody should come on board, and let's see how we can all solve it. Otherwise, take the concrete measures, announce the interventions, so that at least we can safeguard our business. As I'm talking to you now, others are even contemplating closing down their businesses and putting their money in other ventures or save it in a place that will be safe until the situation comes back to normal. Otherwise, you'll be sitting down and in the near future, the only thing that you have to say is that I've lost my business, I went to Ghana and I couldn't make it. This is not the way we want. We want more investment into this country, and therefore we need to do anything that we have to do to get it done.
Business Live here on the Journeys channel with me, Beverly Broohm. Still to come, we'll be engaging some insurance brokers on Broker Awareness Month. October sure is a lucky month to stay. Thanks for staying with us here on the show. Now, as the Insurance Brokers Association of Ghana, IBAG, continues to celebrate its Broker Awareness Month this October, the aim is to educate the public on the benefits of buying insurance through an insurance broker. However, we cannot discuss the subject of insurance without a conversation on motor insurance, which is widely known policy in our own markets. Now, so today we want to get some education on the roles of insurance brokers when it comes to motor insurance claims. And joining me in studio on this subject is Kofi Akoto, PRO of IBAG and the General Manager of Akoto Risk Management Limited, as well as Hannah Amakumsen, who is the Business Development Manager of First Anchor Risk Management, also an insurance broker. Thank you so much, gentleman and lady, for coming. Amma, shall we start with you?
Right.
Can you share with us highlights of what you do as an insurance broker?
All right. My name is Amakumsen, and I'm the Business Development Manager for First Anchor Risk Management. Let me go back to your question. My work as a broker is that I put money in your pockets.
Really? That sounds good.
Yeah, it sounds very good because I'm sure you were expecting a banker to say that. But here in the case, an insurance broker is saying that. Let me explain to you how I do this. So for brokers, what we do, and as a matter of fact, what I do is that I identify my client's need, okay? Every client has a different need. What your insurance need may not be the same as my insurance need. So I have to identify your insurance need, which suits your lifestyle, which suits your business. Then I give you a tailor-made product, all right? Then I also connect you to the best insurance company who can give you value for your money. You understand insurance is an expense. We don't expect you to pay too much for an expense. We want you to profit. So we negotiate on your behalf from the insurance company so that your business can go on. You can also have an insurance policy in place or some cover of some sort in place. What we do as brokers is we peruse. We do insurance audits for you to see whether you are actually getting good value or whether you have adequate cover for the insurance that you get. And the good thing about this is when you have a claim, we don't leave you alone. We follow you through so you get your claim paid. You understand? And finally, let me give you the icing on the cake. You don't pay us for the services we provide to you. It's absolutely free.
Yes. Absolutely free?
Yes, very free.
Today looks like you've come with so many offers. You want to put money in my pocket and you want to work for me for free.
Yeah.
Kofi, let's narrow our conversation down to motor insurance.
Okay.
Educate us on it and let us know what policies that we have on the market now.
All right. Thank you very much, and good evening to our viewers and listeners. On our market here in Ghana, we have three main types of insurance policies or covers in the market. We have what we call the third-party cover. We have the third-party fire and theft, and then we also have the comprehensive cover. Yeah. When you talk about third-party only, the third-party cover looks at you owning a vehicle and then your liability towards the other road users on the road and then people who are around your vehicle, basically. So let's say you are moving your vehicle on the road. The vehicle in front of you, the one behind you, the one on your side, there's a possibility of you running into any one of them. There's a possibility of you running into a pedestrian, somebody by the roadside, somebody filling a brake. Anything can happen on the road. But here, the policy does not look at you who has bought the insurance, but what can happen on the road as a result of an accident, which will cause some damage to somebody's car, an injury to somebody, or death to another person. It could be a person, it could be an animal, it could be somebody's property, a kiosk, traffic light, somebody's house, a building, it could be a bank. You go to park and then you break through the barriers there, so there are barriers there, and enter the bank, and then all these things happen. And any loss that arises out of some of these events is covered under the third party. Now, we talk about the third party fire and theft. The fire and theft is a build-up on the third party, which I initially described. Okay. And in this case, here we are adding fire damage or fire to your vehicle, where the vehicle gets bent or the vehicle is stolen. But here we are not looking at any other thing that you put in your vehicles, like your phone or a laptop or money that you put in the vehicle, which is stolen from the car. No. But the things that originally came with the vehicle, so the side mirrors, the car radio, and other accessories that came with the vehicle, which was there before you insured the vehicle, which can be stolen away from the vehicle, or the whole vehicle being stolen, or the whole vehicle getting bent or part of it getting bent as a result of electrical fault or some means that caused the burning.
But allow me to come in. Why is this compulsory, this third-party insurance? Why is it compulsory?
Okay, let me take that. Third-party is compulsory. Let me give you a bit of a background to this question. So in the past, we had the Third-Party Act, which is 1958. It says that you can deposit like 500,000 in the state coffers or have an insurance policy with an insurance company. I want to ask you, Beverly, would you rather put 500,000 in the state coffers when you don't even know where the insurance claim will occur, or you pay a little as 327 cedis to the insurance company? Which one will you prefer?
Which one would you advise?
You pay, I mean, you definitely want to pay that little amount at 327 and save the 500,000. For something else, you want to invest it and get investment returns, or put it in another business venture. You can even buy another car, other vehicles with it, for it to run on the road. Yeah.
But it's compulsory because, I mean, we have other road users on the road. You can run into somebody anytime. Like my colleague Kofi mentioned, should you run into a bank, a building, even another car or pedestrians on the road, imagine the damage that you've caused the person. And assuming you don't have any policy in place, how is that third party going to survive?
Unfortunately, we don't have enough time. So I would allow Kofi to wrap up for us.
Okay. So basically, all that we are trying to say is that road users are bound to have issues on the road. And because of these issues on the road, that is why we buy insurance and make it, the third party is made compulsory. The comprehensive, which is the maximum cover we have under the road, the motor insurance cover, that one is not compulsory. It is your decision to take. So we have third party fire and theft, and then comprehensive. But for the third parties, we make claims for you as a broker when the loss arises, and we help you as a client to run through the process from the time of incident to the time where there's settlement. And whoever is involved, we help you and we advise you and ensure that the insurance company pays you adequately, and then you have peace of mind in other, jurisdiction where you have liability towards people who come into contact with you on the road.
Thank you so much. Kofi Akoto is PRO of IBAG, and Ama Kumsin is also Business Development Manager of First Anchor Risk Management. Thank you so much for your time, guys, here on the show. And that's how we wrap up here on Business Live on the Journeys channel with me, Beverly Broohm. Do enjoy the rest of our program.